We do wild stuff in this movie. It's very exciting action that you see in the film, but we did it all very safely and we took the time to do it. You can actually do really amazing, eye-popping things with horses. You just need the time to train them. You need months to train them, to get them ready to actually be able to do it so they don't get hurt.
He keeps alive with this cold 45.
It's wonderful to have that humane sticker. That's why I put it so early in the closing credits. So to relieve audience members, to know that, oh, this was just make-believe. Everything is okay. This was just a fun adventure to watch, and nobody was actually hurt.
The horses are as important as the people in this because, you know, I've always said the people have a choice. The horses don't really have a choice. Quentin, he doesn't want to see the tick on the side of the horse get injured. He doesn't want to see a bug crossing the road get run over. He wants what he can get out of everything to a point, but hates injuries.
Our stunts team are a group of rock stars. No one has ever done the kind of stunts with horses, with no animals injured, that we pulled off in this film.
The Western is, you know, it's coming back little by little, and it's fantastic. But to do it right for Quentin, and knowing that he's not going to want to cut it up in chunks, that's hard work.
There's a lot of other stuff that's been done, but not like this. It's got that Quentin Tarantino twist to it.
Our big scenes are running down the hill and the big explosion. I think we had about 35 horses in that scene.
Yeah, at least. I'm not sure of the numbers because we had extra horses, but I think 35 horses ran down the hill. You know, it's my 37th year doing this, and this is the show I've been waiting for. I've wanted to do something like this all this time. And knowing how many friends, kids, and relatives and everything I had on that, it was blissful stress.
It's really John McLeod and Dash and Rusty really putting their time together and timing everything out perfectly and just practicing. I mean, practice, practice, practice. So once those horses all charge down the hill, Dennis Wagon has to blow up.
For the explosion. Reading the script, obviously the first thing that popped in my head was how many horses are going to be falling, and Quentin said, you know, it would be cool to kind of have maybe 7 or 8 horses fall. And I want it to happen from the explosion.
Are you happy with where? I'm very happy.
You know, Quentin's, he wants big shots and he wants them real. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I need 15 falling horses because I don't think ever that they'll all go at once. So if he wants 7, I'm going to have 15. If we get 7 to go, we're going to be lucky. If 8 go, we're more lucky. If 10 go, we're killing it. 14 horses fell.
Pass out the torches, please. Light them up.
Everybody good? If you need another rehearsal, raise your hand.
The rehearsal time was months. I replayed it in my mind 100 times. And before we started shooting, we did a rehearsal for Quentin. And it literally was all the horses all at the same time, which I've never seen. Nobody has seen that many horses fall at one time.
Remember the cadence. 3, 2, 1, action. The explosion at 2.
We tested it probably 5 or 6 times leading up to the night we did it at varying scales, trying to figure out what everybody was going to be happy with.
Okay, let's clear out, guys. Quietly, please, for picture.
The humane guys were brought in. We talked to them. Everything was approved
Get it, boys.
and pretty much went off without a hitch.
Ready, stand, 3, 2, 1, go!
Torpedoes in.
There were so many people to thank for their hard work, the wranglers, the guys that train the horses, the guys that bruise themselves up. Having 1,200 pounds fall on you is, you have to be really good at it. You have to know what you're doing.
3, 2, 1, go!
I had 3 of my sons working on it, and it was very satisfying because there was 3 different generations of stunt people there, from grandsons to sons to fathers. They were all there.
You know, ever since I was a kid, I, for the most part, have worked, you know, with my dad. That's basically how I started. And it's nice because, you know, I feel the most comfortable with him. I know how he does things, and he's real big on safety, so.
My kids they grew up in it, you know. Wranglers and cowboys and stunt people, it's a cultural approach to life, you know. They're generations of their family have been doing this kind of work?
I'm third generation in this business. My grandfather, my father, my mother, they did every Western from the late 30s all the way through the John Wayne era. I was raised on a Western movie set.
Now my little brothers are following also. My little brother Chad is starting to come into his own and work a lot. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, I've always known it to be a family thing. And even the stunt guys that my dad grew up with, we've known, you know, our whole life, and kind of, you know, a lot of them I call my uncle because it's, you know, we're all just a really close-knit, you know, group.
Bill, I'm going to be down here with Johnny McLeod.
I was a proud father, a proud uncle. I was proud of everybody that night. I guess we can stop talking about that because I could go on forever.
Dash was amazing. Old school.
May choose your character's costume.
You was gonna let me pick out my own clothes?
Yeah, but of course.
I have big ideas when it comes to presentation.
Yeah, he needs to have panache, a sense of showmanship.
When it comes to costume design, Quentin found his perfect partner, Sharon Davis, who is amazingly talented.
Sharon Davis, beyond. Her eyes, she had every little puff on the shoulder of the girls, and the dresses just completely right.
She's all about the detail and all about the specificity and making sure that she's serving the vision of the director.
She took us back to that date, but there was a certain crispness to it. Like the way she had Christophe looking was amazing. Samuel Jackson's clothes were eloquent. Sharon makes the wardrobe a character.
The characters were so strong and the storyline was so interesting. Quentin knows every aspect of filmmaking, and you know his finger is on every part of the film. It's in the sets, it's in the lighting, it's everywhere, and of course it's in the costumes. He's definitely all hands on.
I think particularly when you're doing a period film, so much of who the character is wrapped up in the clothes and the shoes and the look, and she has such a stellar imagination. There was nothing Quentin couldn't throw at her that she didn't catch, create, and exceed his expectations. I mean, she is one of his all-stars.
Every look, I pretty much illustrated for all the lead characters. Django's first look is a slave look, and we didn't want too much of a caricature. We really wanted that authentic. We had to do a transition from the first plantation he was on as he was sold, and this whole walk until he was bought. And then as we progress and Dr. Schultz and Django decide on this camaraderie, they go into a store and buy some new clothes for Django so he doesn't look like a slave, and Django decides, you know, basically he wants to look like a king.
It was written to where Christophe's character picks the outfit out. And I was like, could I ask that we switch it around? And Christophe also suggested it too. I said, a slave who's never worn anything but a sack, no shoes, no nothing, he wants to pick out his outfit. He's gonna pick something that everybody's gonna see. I ain't picking no gray or no brown. What's that? And just a little side note, you know black folks like colors, man. I was like, man, I need that teal blue.
His name was Ken. He had a horse along the countryside.
And Quentin was absolutely right when the girl is looking at the clothes. You know how women are.
Didn't you hear him tell you ain't no slaves?
So you really free?
Yes, I was free.
You mean you want to dress like that?
So that's why whenever we do get married or get a girlfriend, they always change. They go through our closet. Why don't you wear this? Well, you mean you don't like the chartreuse maroon? Chartreuse is a new, it's chartreuse. She was constantly on it, like how do we make this character transition in his clothes as well?
Like the pine trees lining the winding road.
His final outfit, we do a more timeless look and do a cowboy, which is not really the period, but it's not the period either. Because in the far west, there was prairie look. It just wasn't popular in the South. But that's what Django decides he wants to be in.
Good morning, innkeeper.
Christophe's my favorite. After this whole show, I'm still excited to see what Christophe's going to wear. The parameters on Dr. Schultz was he can only wear shades of gray.
That's accurate.
But gray is a big family, which is kind of cool.
Gray is not one color. Gray is endless variations in connection with the texture and the weave and the directions and the layers and all of that. It's marvelous. She's a fantastic designer.
Christoph can wear clothes like no one's business. You know, Christoph can really wear clothes. It doesn't really matter. You know, he can handle anything.
I'm Dr. King Schultz. This is my horse Fritz.
I think his hat was the longest project of ours for Christoph. The perfect hat. We didn't really want it to be European.
Sure, that's him.
But we didn't want it to be Northern. So we actually morphed a hat. It's a combination of a derby and a Western hat. And it made him the bounty hunter he needed to be. And it kind of like sealed the deal in all the clothes. The brown suede jacket was one of my favorite outfits of Leonardo's.
Calvin Candy, even as the most evil plantation owner in the world, he's dashing and there's a charm to him.
What about my $500?
The riding coat was all Quentin. So Sharon, now imagine this like a trench coat, but in suede. But I know it's not.
He had this faux quality to him. He was trying to be this European, a sort of upper crusty aristocrat, but meanwhile, it was all fake.
You do not have anything to drink. Can I get you a tasty refreshment?
Yes.
It had this beauty to it, but also a certain amount of tackiness and audaciousness to his clothing.
You know, the hat and the boots and the cigarette, all of it just put together is fun.
So, Hildy, how you like serving at the big table in the big house, huh?
It's just wonderful to work with Sharon because she's able to carry it through and manifest these amazingly wardrobed characters.
Broomhill was really fun to do. Quentin basically said, Sharon, show me what you think Broomhild is. So I did a few sketches, and luckily I worked with Carrie before, so I knew her body, and she's completely illustrated, and you can put her next to the illustration, and she kind of goes perfectly into the look. Quentin at the beginning gave me a few ideas of how Django would see Broomhilda in visions. Like when he's going to Candyland, she's in a yellow pier dress that's from the early 1800s, just walking like the sun. And that just was like a ray of hope. It didn't really fit in the movie, but that's what Django's seeing. You know, she's a vision.
Sharon is just so intuitive, and she knows how to make you look your best. And she had a lot of fun putting Mogi together.
Good to see you again, Mr. Mogi.
Oh, Mogi. He was so fun.
Oh, this is the one-eyed Charlie I've heard so much about. Yes.
Quentin was there the whole time while we were creating Mogi.
Quentin talked to Sharon about the fact that he wanted to keep the palette for this character in lightness all the time.
Just like he wanted Christoph in all gray, he really wanted Mogi in beige with a little bit of color, just all beige. So that's kind of how we came up with his look.
Get free man Django here whatever he wants. And I'll have sweet tea and bourbon.
Sharon ranks up there with the best, and everything that she does helps bring my character to life.
You don't wear a hat in the house, white man, even I know that.
She just puts the stuff on and it builds, and she makes me feel comfortable in my clothing.
Have we seen beautiful period costumes in other movies? Yes. But Sharon really thought out Laura Lee in a pretty thorough way.
Now, where is my beautiful sister?
I decided for her first change we see her, she's dressed a little too young for her age.
This attractive Southern belle is my widowed sister. Darling, you are a tonic for tired eyes. May I present to you Laura Lee, Candy Fitzwillie.
Just a little bit of a Blanche Dubois kind of thing, but she pulls it off. And then for her next change, which is all these men at her house, she comes down like, you know, Queen Elizabeth, the tiara and, you know, royal colors. And so her whole life is probably putting on clothes. She's always themed.
The dresses she's made, whether it's the cupcake or the Mardi Gras dress, which is the one in the dining scene that's Mardi Gras colors, they're both so feminine, they're so show-stopping, but they're both totally believable as garments. They're not just movie dresses. They're dresses that somebody would have in their closet.
She put this outfit on, walked on set, and I immediately knew who Billy Crash was.
You better listen to your boss, white boy.
Oh, I'm gonna go walking in the moonlight with you. You wanna hold my hand?
He just became this amazing character. He's the best dressed of all the overseers I've done. I mean, because I've put so much into making 90 guys look different. They have one or two costumes, and I have to make them individuals, and that's the biggest challenge I've ever had to do.
The extras felt very well taken care of. It was a hard subject matter for them as well, and Sharon did a really good job of making everybody feel really comfortable.
This is a difficult period piece. There's a lot of heavy costuming for a lot of people, and she's doing it like it's a walk in the park.
Some wear jackets, some wear vests, some wear shirts, some wear double shirts. How they carry themselves is really important of how I'm going to dress them. If they're more statuesque, I put a jacket on them and make them a little more gentlemanly. But if they come in and they're very scruffy and look like they don't take showers, then I dress them down. I dress the slaves from each plantation by the plantation owner. For Old Man Karakran, I kind of took the color out there because it is like a flashback. I did great silhouettes with just almost no color. And then when we went to Candyland, you can tell who's in with Boss Candy and who's not. The slaves that are with them are dressed amazing, and then the ones way out in the field are really rough, and then the Mandingos are showing off their body, you know, basically. Big Daddy's plantation was more colorful, and the women, of course, were more beautiful, and they were better dressed. And even the people in the fields just seemed a little happier. Because to me, he was a little more benevolent. So that plantation, I kind of lifted it up a little bit.
What if I was to say I don't like you, and I wouldn't sell you a tinker's damn? Now, what you got to say about that?
I know how Quentin likes Don, obviously, in Miami Vice. So when he came in, I thought, Big Daddy. Let's do a little Colonel Sanders with Miami Vice and just kind of put it together and see what I can come up with.
Who are you two jokers?
Like a sexy Colonel Sanders.
You know, Quentin had ideas, and I had some thoughts, and gratefully, Sharon Davis saved both of our asses and came up with the linen suit, you know, and the little petite string tie, because you know they wore a lot of cravats and stuff back there.
He's the first fitting. He's the first fitting off the illustration, and that's when Quentin said, "Oh my gosh, that's perfect. He looks exactly like that." And that's when oh my gosh, yeah.
Big Daddy is basically your everyday run-of-the-mill pimp in the 1850s.
I love Don. He brought great touches.
This is my contribution. Can you see those? These are my contribution. These are the snakeskin boots that I thought were just, you know, if I didn't have them, the character wasn't right. I mean, may as well just scrap the whole movie.
There'd be no Big Daddy.
There'd be no Big Daddy.